What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews, and welcome to one of the biggest races of the year each and every season. The Fountain of Youth down at Gulfstream Park. Grade 2 event worth a mile and a 16th. Going to be happening Saturday, March 1st. Like I said, race 13 on the card. Field of 8. I think it's an interesting group. I think a lot of these horses, I could definitely see them being, hey, they're pretty good by the time this race is over. We say that. Or I could definitely be like, yeah, maybe this was a little bit of an overrated group, or maybe an underwhelming group is a better way to put it. I think we have some potential in here. We'll just have to see what they do as they kind of try to take that first step towards the Kentucky Derby. I'll put the field up now. There you go. Like I said, in a field of 8. We'll go through them one by one. And let's start with the Todd Pletcher trainee, Gate to Wire. He has drawn the rail for this one as he stretches out in distance for the first time. Interesting horse. Last time out, of course, was, I think, definitely his coming out party in the Swale Stakes. He was a winner by 5 lengths, going 7 furlongs in his dirt debut. This horse had raced 4 other times, all on turf or synthetic. Moved into the dirt, and he just woke up with a huge effort. Now, he's kind of a come-from-behind horse. The pace set up extremely well for him. So those are some of the things that kind of maybe explain, okay, that makes sense. Pace set up really well, and maybe it just kind of fell apart. And I could see that to some extent, but he really just kind of dusted these rivals. That's the other kind of flip side of it, if you will. He just kind of killed them. He just kind of just galloped right away from them without any trouble whatsoever. So I kind of like this horse. I don't know if he'll stretch out. This will be the first time going long. He's going a mile and 16th here after going 5.5 on the turf, 6 on the turf, 5 on the turf. This horse was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, then 5 on the synthetic, 7 furlongs last time out, and now we're stretching out to a mile and 16th. The breeding on the top, not so much for going a mile and 16th. The breeding on the bottom, Street Cry mare, but more of kind of a turfy type, and that's probably why they started him off here. So can he go longer? I'm not sure, but that last race was pretty darn. Let's go back down to the number 2 Sovereignties. We keep going here. Number 2 Sovereignty coming off of a great win in the Street Sense Stakes last time out at Churchill Downs. Grade 3 event, first time stretching out. He was still a maiden, actually, when he entered that race, and he was a 5-length winner. He beat Tistastic and he beat Sandman, 2 horses that have come back to run awfully well, especially Sandman, who won an allowance and was second in the Southwest and is running in the Rebel Stakes here in a couple hours. So we'll see how he does there. Tistastic, also another horse that's come back to run well, like I said. So, pretty nice horse in this one. The 2 races that this horse lost, he ran okay, but they were both in one-turn races, and I just don't think that's his style. Now, kind of the flip side of it is, how cranked up is he going to be? We kind of know Bill Mott as a guy that is a little bit patient. I don't think they're going all out to win the Fountain of Youth. They're looking at the Kentucky Derby as the ultimate goal for this horse. So also, the pace is probably going to have to be pretty hot in this one for him to win. He is going to come from out of it. We've kind of seen him come from well behind in his races. So pretty interesting horse. I'm afraid the price might be just a little too short from a horse coming off of a long layoff here. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I definitely think he's one that you're going to have to use, but I would not be shocked if he's not fully cranked for this one. So let's just kind of keep an eye. Let's kind of just, make a note. Hey, he may not run his absolute best race in this spot, but he is one to watch as we go down the trail. The number 3 is Burnham Square. This is a horse that is coming off a win in the Holy Bull last time out by a length and 3/4 over Tappan Street. Pretty good race there. 2 races back is when he really woke up. He was in a maiden special weight right there at Gulfstream Park, and he was able to get the job done by 9 lengths. So pretty nice horse here. Once he the light bulb went on that race 2 back, he's really kind of shown that he's pretty darn good, and he's definitely one that's coming in here with a big shot. Like I said, it'll be interesting, I should say, to see if he makes another improvement. He has improved in every race so far. If he makes one more improvement, I mean, he's a serious contender. He might be already. So he's in with a huge shot, no question. Number 4 is McKellen. This horse, on debut was a winner right here at Gulfstream Park. Went to run an allowance race at Churchill in his next start. Was second, beaten 3.5 by Disco Time. Disco Time comes back to win the LeComp. So you felt pretty good about him. He was 9-2 in the Mucho Macho Man, and he ran 6th, beaten 14. Now, the Mucho Macho Man has come back to be pathetic as a race. It is just really bad. The one thing I'll say is This horse never really did any running. So you could almost draw a line through it, right? He's better than what he showed that day. I still am not sold on him, though. I don't think he's this kind of horse. So he's a pass for me in this one. The number 5 is Solid Left. This is a horse that's coming off of a 2.5 length maiden special weight victory last time out at Gulfstream Park. He stretched out to 2 turns for that race. It was his first race around 2 turns. Nice improvement. The debut race just was kind of a disaster. Just didn't run very well. Was 7 furlongs. Got beat by some nice horses, Tappan Street, Bob Moe, Multiverse. So, I think it's a definite improvement. He needs to improve greatly. Again, though, from a speed figure standpoint, up and coming horse. Wouldn't be shocked if he gets a little bit better in here. I just don't have any interest in him now in this spot. But another one I'm kind of circling down the road, maybe a little bit weaker of a race, we might see him kind of do his thing. The number 6 is River Thames. This is a horse that is 2 for 2 for Todd Pletcher. Broke the maiden going 6 furlongs, facing a 4 to 5 shot named Vanderbilt that day, and just cruised by him like he was nothing and just galloped to an easy win. The next start in an allowance race right here at Gulfstream Park, stretching out to a mile. Looked just as sharp, really didn't have to be asked to do much. He gets a 6.5 length victory. And what I would definitely say, though, it's a pretty weak race, that allowance race. The main special weight, they had some horses that were supposed to be pretty good. So I think there's not a whole lot of bad you can say about this horse. The second Todd Pletcher entry, as we talked about, Gate to Wire, when you look at this one's pedigree by McLean Music out of a Discreet Cat mare, definitely does not scream 1.25 miles. But what about 1.16 miles? That's what we're talking about today. I actually think this horse will be okay. I'm not sure about going longer than the Fountain of Youth distance, but the Fountain of Youth distance itself, I think we're going to be okay. So I think this is a good spot for him. He has passed both tests so far with flying colors. I think he's the fastest horse early in this race as well. I think he's going to get out in front. I think he's going to be the one they're going to have to catch down the stretch. Will he start to slow down after that mile kind of marker, right? That last 16th of a mile, will he start to slow down and will they catch him? I think it's a big question, but I think this horse has a lot of talent. Maybe ultimately a mile is where this horse will excel. I wouldn't argue that, but I do think he can get 1.16 miles, and I especially think he can win this race if he kind of sneaks away from them at the top of the stretch. Neoquist, the 7 horse, is next. I may have butchered that name, but that's kind of how I read it, Neoquist. This is a horse that had been running 3 races back and 2 races back behind a horse named Rated by Merit. Unfortunately, he's off the Kentucky Derby trail, but he was a Florida bred that had a big-time future. So, just got running second behind a monster there. Faced Allowance Company last time out, Florida bred Allowance Company, without Rated by Merit there, and cruised to an easy victory. Stepping up here, that's the problem. This horse is by Neolithic, explaining the name there, out of a Birdstone mare, so should stretch out in distance just fine, but that step up in competition will be the question. Yes, he ran second behind Rated by Merit, but he was never kind of in the realm of winning either one of those races, so that has me a little worried here. I love that Irad gets aboard. I think this horse has talent. I would not be shocked if this horse outruns his odds. I expect him to be double digits, but I couldn't get there for a win. But I do have respect for this one, and I'm very interested because I really liked Rated by Merit, and I really kind of wanted to see what he would do. So if Neoquist, runs a good race here, maybe not even wins, but gets second or third, you might think, boy, maybe Rated by Merit would have been okay. But that's kind of where I see him, maybe underneath. Curious to see how he runs. Not a huge fan of him. And finally, the number 8 is Keep It Easy. Dale Roman's coming in with this one. Jekyll and Hyde type of horse, right? Maiden special weight going 5.5 furlongs on debut at Churchill Downs. Didn't do much, got 7th. Came back to win a maiden special weight going 6 furlongs by 4 lengths at his next start. Was so impressive, and I don't blame them for being impressed. Went up to the Saratoga Special where this horse was 5-2, and it was a disaster. He just stumbled badly. Never really got any kind of footing. And when you're up there at Saratoga going 6.5 in a 2-year-old race, you kind of, more times than not, you need to be at least in the first flight or at worst mid-pack, unless you're Chancellor McPatrick. But you're up against it. And he just they wrapped him up. No big deal. Draw a line through that one. And then came back to Churchill Downs, ran in a 6.5 furlong stakes, the Ed Brown Stakes, and won by 5.25. Pretty sharp in that one. So look, Jekyll and Hyde type horse, like you said, but had some excuses 2 races back. And the first race was just a debut, so I'm not holding that against him either. I think he's in with a little bit of a shot. Stretching out to a mile 16 for the first time, but the horse is bred to go a mile and a quarter. So I don't think the stretch out will be too bad. I do think the stretch out and distance will have to lead to a nice improvement for him to win. But I do think he is one that could, if he hits the board, I'm not going to be shocked. And look, like I said, the horse is by Heartspun of an English Channel mare. So horse is bred to go long, even longer than mile 16th. You may see him improve at a mile and 8, mile and a quarter. English Channel on the bottom there. You could possibly see him on the turf at some point as well. So I think Dale Romans has a decent horse. I don't know if he's the winner in this race, but I do kind of like him going forward. But as long as we kind of see some improvement out of him in this spot here. So that's the field of 8. It's a really good race. I heard a couple people text me saying that this race isn't very good, or there's been some complaints. I don't know, for where we're at right now. I think this is about what I expected. You got a horse like Sovereignty in here who's got a lot of hype. You got Burnham Square, who won the Holy Bull. You got Todd Pletcher with a couple of runners. One looked extremely good last time out. One's undefeated. I mean, I think it's okay. I wouldn't be too down on it. I think we'll get a couple of contenders out of it. All right, so quit rambling here. Tell you who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick number 6, River Thames, to win this race. Again, I don't think this is a Kentucky Derby like contender. But I don't know. You go back and watch those races. They're not really asking this horse to do a whole lot just yet, and he's romping. So the numbers and the times have come back pretty good. So I'm going to go number 6, River Thames, in the spot. I think he'll be tough. I think he's going to turn for the corner with the lead, and I think they're going to have to come get him. Now, maybe they will, but I think, right here at Gulfstream, you turn the corner, you're going a mile 16th. It's a little bit of a shorter stretch at this distance. I think he'll be tough to catch. So I'm going to go number 6, River Thames, for Todd Pletcher, as he tries to make it 3 for 3. All right, guys, that'll do it for a preview of the Fountain of Youth Stakes, coming to you live Saturday, March 1st. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're playing Gulfstream Park on Saturday.